Well, hello, everyone. Today is Saturday, July 10th, 2021. Welcome to our Contract Trust Conference call. We're not accountants, tax professionals, lawyers, or currency dealers. We're not engaged in rendering legal, tax, accounting, or other professional advice. Should you require those services, you should obtain competent advice from a professional in that field. Thank you for joining us today. We are Indicator Information Institute. My name is Carol Werelius, and my partner, Jim Knox, and I have these calls every second and fourth Saturday of the month. These calls are recorded and available on our website, www.indicatorinformation.com, iqdcalls.com, and YouTube. As we get closer and closer to our expected exchange, we thought this would be a good time to review our common law contract trust and why we think is the best vehicle for you to protect your assets. We will not be discussing the RV or exchange, so please don't ask us those questions because we obviously don't know much more than you do. As always, though, your questions are welcome. Just star 6 to raise your hand. So let's talk about trust and asset protection. Most statutory trusts are designed to provide for the logical distribution of your assets upon your death. Those assets will go through probate and all the headaches involved with it, including making it public information. Our common law contract trust is designed to protect your assets. It is totally private, managed by trustees, usually yourself, and provides for the natural succession of trustees that you have appointed. Use of the common law contract trust totally avoids probate and inheritance tax issues. You died. The trust, the lawful owner of the assets, did not. Over the years, we've discussed the need for trust and why we feel ours is superior to any other trust offering asset protection. We have referred to your first trust as the mother lode trust. I think most of you are aware of that. It is the wellspring from which all other trusts are created and funded. We've talked about secondary trusts like management trusts, real estate trusts, vehicle trusts, etc. The mother lode trust functions much like the trunk of a tree with deep roots, and therefore the mother lode should be the most secure and private account that you set up. Spoken with many of you who wish to put your houses and even cars into the mother lode trust. We highly recommend against this practice. Real estate and vehicles are potentially high liability items. Putting them in the same basket as the currency or money puts everything at risk. That's why we offer real estate and vehicle trusts. Today we'd like to expand a little bit on the management trust concept and why it's important and how it interacts with your mother lode and other trust. Using a management trust can effectively shield the mother lode trust from any outside activity. This account will receive funds from the mother lode trust so that it can function as your purchasing or lending arm. Hypothetically, it functions much like the branches of a tree. It has more exposure and is easier to break or penetrate, but it is an account that connects to some levels of the outside world. You need to place adequate funds in this account to easily cover your prospective purchases and to cover several ongoing expenses for easier manageability. It could also fund your personal checking account for daily and personal expenses. The management trust simplifies some of the issues associated with multiple properties and multiple vehicles. Many of you are planning on purchasing multiple vehicles, more than one residence, rental properties, etc. Obviously, that may create an accounting nightmare, so we suggest the use of a management trust. For instance, not only can a management trust purchase the property on behalf of the real estate trust, I'm sorry, my phone was ringing. For instance, not only can the management trust purchase the property on behalf of the real estate trust, the management trust can pay all the taxes, insurance, and maintenance for all of the real estate, just eliminating the need for separate bank accounts for each piece of property. The same holds true for vehicle trusts, etc. Real estate and vehicle trusts don't even need to have an EIN. The management trust, however, will have its own EIN and its own bank account. This trust has full power to dispose of all the properties and complete control of its management, such as paying insurance, taxes, maintenance, repairs, upkeep of the home and property, etc. As trustee, you still control the assets of this trust and the income they produce. We can create management trusts for you, including all the steps to validate its creation and funding. We are fine-tuning the contracts to facilitate the interactions between the trusts, and Jim will post them on the website when they are ready. One of the questions we get frequently is, how do I get money out of the trust? And, we've listed them before. Take a salary, take a distribution, borrow from the trust, let the trust pay expenses, etc. But recently, one of our clients told me another trust provider said that the trustee of a common law trust cannot benefit from the trust. Well, that may be true of some trusts. It is not the case with our common law contract business trust. And I say business for a reason because it's different. Trustees are encouraged to take a salary. The trust may pay for the business expenses. It is not unusual for the Board of Trustees to decide that they can best serve the trust and the certificate holders if the trust purchases a nice house for use by each trustee, and often a nice car to go with it, and usually a nice retirement plan, and so on and so on. All of these purchases are generally not reportable to any government agency beyond the legal requirements involved in purchasing the property itself. This form of compensating the trustees is the norm when the trustees are also the exchangers. All the trustees need to do is document their belief that these actions will make it easier for the trustees to manage the trust assets, and any trust activity they choose can and will be justified with respect to the trust indenture. Remember that the trustees of a common law contract trust are accountable for their intent to benefit the trust and therefore the trust certificate holders. They are not accountable for the ultimate results in the event those activities cannot be proven to actually result in benefits to the trust certificate holders. While trustees of a statutory trust can be sued and directors can be fired if their activities do not clearly and directly benefit their respective bosses, the beneficiaries or shareholders, the trustees of a common law contract trust are only held accountable for their intent to bring about those tangible benefits. Now, let's go back for a moment. I mentioned business trust. Years ago, Jim and I decided to drop the word business from the name of this trust because it caused a lot of confusion. You go to open a bank account, they want to see your business papers. Well, we don't have any business papers because we're not actively running a business. But I mentioned business trust specifically because that's where you get all these rights. So that's something to keep in mind. So also, as members, you all have access to our website, which should answer most of your questions. Jim has put in a lot of time and effort to keep the website viable and is adding to it on a regular basis. While we realize it's often easier to pick up the phone and ask a question rather than search for it, we would like you to research it first. The website is designed to be a resource for you and a respite for us. As you might guess, we are pretty busy right now, so please check the website first. And, Jim, I know you have something to add to that.
Yeah, I do. Take me off your speed dial, folks. I'm adding more content. We're trying to refine the content. We're getting a directive on the content. In other words, we're going one direction. That is to make sure that you have all the tools you need to control this thing. It's a private document. Nobody's going to see it but you. So you can be kind of vague on some of the stuff to a degree, but all you have to do is write your intent and declare it to be a minute, give it a minute number, and then sign it. That's all you got to do, and date it. You need to date it. And, you can put anything in there within the law. And, again, going back to what Carol was saying about business trust, this is a business. This is a commerce-designed vehicle. I run my present mother-lode trust. I have a debit card. Yesterday I went and I bought some gas. I bought a few groceries with it. I bought a couple things I needed for one of my pickups because the pickup's owned by one of the trusts. So, therefore, my present mother-lode trust has been running my life for 12 years now, 13 years, and I've never had an issue. I do a lot of accounting. I keep a spreadsheet. I know exactly where my money's going, and I make notes of what account it came out of and what account it benefited. So yesterday when I bought the part for the truck, it's in another trust. So I'm actually using my little mother-lode trust temporarily as also a management trust because it has an EI number. Folks, this is really simple stuff. It's just common sense. We're not worried about big, bad government coming down on us. That's just not going to happen. If you get an inquiry, respond. It's not a big deal. But it's the intent. As Carol said, it's the intent. You intend to do the right thing. You're not intending to go commit a crime. So about the website, I'm adding more content. I'm rearranging some of the content. The other day somebody said, well, it's so hard to navigate. Well, not really. One of the unique things about this is on every page, let me go into it real quick here. Just going to log in I'm just going to go look at it real quick. Every page on the right-hand side has got a whole list of hyperlinks. You go anywhere you want to go from any page you're on. You don't have to go back to the menu. They're all there. I put them on the right-hand side. They're kind of a gray color, but they're hyperlinks. They take you to any page you want to go to. So get familiar with this website. I'm adding more content, but I'm not changing the design. People discovered, okay, this is how the design works. This is what the menu works. This is how this works. I'm not going to change that. I'm just going to add more content. The content we add will be in two forms, text and Microsoft Word. Copy and paste. Now, we use a different program to build the trust. It's a legal program called WordPerfect. And hardly anybody has it, but we use it. So when you see your trust, it's designed by a different program. It doesn't mean you can't start adding text or Microsoft Word pages to it. You're just going to buy what you need, print it out, personalize it for your trust, print it, sign it, date it, 3-hole punch it, put it in the binder. That simple.
There you go.
Carol?
That's Jim, I totally agree. We have stressed for a long time now how important it is to keep minutes. And the reason for the minutes is because it clarifies your actions and it lets your successor trustees know what you did while you were trustee. So everybody is now muted. I'm going to put it on Q&A. So please raise your hand. Star 6 to raise your hand. So I know, Jim, that you have been working on some of these contracts as well. And, well, actually, we've both been working on the contracts. So we should have those on the website before our next call, right?
Yeah, we will, because I've got the whole list. I'm going to send them over to you. Finally got that caught up. And I'll send them over to you to look at. We'll discuss them. We'll agree on them. Once we have an agreement on what we're going to put up there, we'll put it up there. The other thing that I'm adding to the trust, I'm in there right now, and I see that we have somebody got in here and made a comment. I have to figure out where that's coming from and fix it. But I appreciate the comment. Linktree, I enjoyed this. Thank you, it says. So we try and keep the comments out because it does run up it does take a lot of computer power to keep that going. I just don't think we need them. But we'll get these contracts done. Now, I'm inside here real quick, and I'm going to go up to the main site, visit the site. I'm in the back end right now, and then I'm just going to go say list of documents. When I'm there, folks, on the right-hand side, it says find what you need. So on each page, on this one just says list of documents, and I got what is a contract business trust, shields and books, certificate units, contracts and agreements, customer relations and credit, employment, and other. And we'll increase that. On the right-hand side, it says find what you need. Each one of those is a hyperlink. We talked recently about the proof of service. I got them both in there. Just go down here and look, and you see this proof of service and proof of archiving. So a proof of service is a document that I just used. It was kind of fun, kind of shocked somebody. Whenever you send something to somebody, and it's very, very important, and you want to have a witness that you sent it, or you want proof that you sent it, use a third party. So a proof of service, with or without notary, I have both, will allow you to then to go and have somebody fill out a form, ask all these particular questions, and then they sign it. Then they stuff everything in the envelope, and they go mail it. That's a proof of service. You had a third party do this, and they've signed and has been notarized that they did this. So I had an issue with one of my, who's this called, internet provider, trying to bill me for an extra $155, and then they were going to turn off my internet because I didn't pay $155. Well, it's not even the same number, and it's not even the same account number. So I just sent them a nasty gram, and I got that proof of service, and it got it resolved within 48 hours. They called me and said, oh, we made a mistake. We're sorry. Yeah, I know you did. So we have a lot of little things like that on the internet to help you on the website. I'm rambling, Carol. What, you got something you want to direct me on?
Well, one of the things we talk about proof of service and making sure that they got an important document is a lot of you have had to change your address, your trust address in the last year and a half or so, because the site that we were using in Cheyenne, Wyoming, closed its doors. So maybe, Jim, you want to talk about the 8822B for a few minutes so we get some questions here?
Sure. Okay, on the 8822B, it's located under Tools. You go to the menu, it says Tools. And when you go there, the first thing it talks about is from a little note from me, then the RoboForm, Mail Washer Pro, which we really highly recommend, mail drops for your trust. And then there's a list of the 4 that we know that work with us. Then we have a letter that declares your domicile, and then the change of address or domicile of the trust, then how to order the paper and certificate stock used for your trust. Now I'll go back up to change of address and domicile of the trust. In here, there is Form F8822B. You can click on it, takes you right to the IRS, and you can download the form. And then, let me go back. Okay, then we have additional facts that have changed as of January 2019. It's a hyperlink. It also gives you some information. And then it says instructions in blue and bold, and a minute to authorize the change of the sample 8822B. Well, there's an actual example of how to fill this thing all out. And, yeah, there's a typo in it. I know it. I bet people call me and say, hey, you got a typo. I know. Anyway, so it's all it is. I suggest you send a registered mail, return receipt, and keep your copies with the trust. Technically, the moment it is postmarked, you may consider the address changed, since it is simply an administrative action of the IRS's part. It does not affect the status of the trust. Then it says, here is the downloadable form to fill out and send to the IRS, and it's got a hyperlink. And then it's got a sample that I did, and it shows all the things you need to change. So it's really, really simple, folks. Just, if you change your address, fill out the form, send it in. I recommend you send a certified mail and return receipt requested, a little green card. And when that green card comes back, you know they've got it. You know right then and there you're good. You're golden. Everything is done. It's all you need to do. So it's a simple procedure. It's all there. And we're trying to do this for everyone. We're trying to get all of these unique things done. There's even a minute attached to this sample, a suggested minute. So you can just copy and paste the following onto your computer and fill it out, print it and add it to your minute list. At a trustees meeting, it was noted the trustees that the domicile of their trust organization changed from the old address to the new address on, put the date, dated this date, your signature, your name as executive trustee, second trustee signature, and the second executive trustee. You copy and paste that, fill it in, put it in 3-hole punch it, sign it, date it, put it in your binder. You're done. And I also have a second one, which is an addendum to abstract of trust. So if you're going to also do this, you have to put something in your abstract. So you do an addendum to the abstract of trust because the abstract of trust has the legal address. So you do this little minute, and you attach it to the abstract of trust whenever you need to present the abstract of trust. It's all here, folks. And we're trying to keep this really simple.
And, Jim has really worked hard on doing things like this, putting all these things in place so you can look it up yourself, or you can do it yourself. It's not that we don't want to help. We certainly do want to help. But there are, only so many hours in a day. And, we get tired, too. And we do not like to work weekends. Anyway, we do have a caller, Jim. So,
sure.
Hey, Rob, how are you doing?
Oh, fantastic. I'm so glad to be back on the conference calls. So thanks, Jim and Carol, for all the hard work you're doing. Really appreciate this. And this is wonderful about the, what you're doing, and because I'm sure all of us wonder if we've got everything in order with our trust. And like you said, we don't want to call you every other day asking all these questions and everything. So this is great. So thanks. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Now, this is just a suggestion. I was just wondering, I get a couple of questions. One is have you, either one of you, thought about maybe like a like a video to show us all the tools and everything that we need? I mean, I know, like you're saying, it's on the website, but how you can pull something up from YouTube and learn something or get educating on whatever. I don't know. If
Rob,
go ahead.
Rob, hold on a second. What you just said is exactly what I'm working on. I bought the program. It's just finding that crack of time.
Yeah.
And I bought Camtasia, the latest version of Camtasia. If you don't know what that is, it's a product that allows you to screen capture. In other words, I can put up a form, pull my mic over by my face, and you can see me move my mouse around, and I can fill out the form and tell you how to do it, and then make it a 3 to 5 minute video and put it on there. I bought the software. I just haven't been able to buy the time. I'm trying to find that bank for time, and I just haven't found that bank that'll sell me some time. I have the software. I would love to have somebody work with me on this. And last call, I says, I'm looking for help. I got one guy that replied, but he wanted to move here and take over part of the business. That's not what we have in mind. I just need help on the website. And what I mean by help on the website, somebody that has some knowledge of a website that's willing to get in there and maybe clean up a little bit, and then it gives me the time to start doing these videos. But we have the software. Our intent was to do that. We just haven't found the time. And, folks, I am moving shortly, and I'm trying to get everything ready for that big move. And I'll tell you about that towards the end of the call. I got some points I want to make on that. But that's what we're trying to do, Rob. We really are. And
that's fantastic.
It's a great idea.
Great. Oh, love it. Love it. That would free the both of you up more if, we could go to something and not have to call you and say, oh, wow, it's right in front of me. The video's right there and all the information. And boom. Oh, this is how you set it up? Oh, okay. So that's great. Another question I have is so are you saying that, because you mentioned about how you got a debit card and you charge things for your trust and everything, so we can actually go and open up an account now in our trust name and put money in it and start using it? I thought we had to wait until after at RVs.
You do. Let me explain. I've been using this since before the RV. So I have what I consider to be my motherlode trust. It's not the RV motherlode trust, but it is a motherlode trust. It controls all of my funds. I have my personal account, which I buy my groceries and pay my utility bills, stuff like that, part of that because I live in this house. The trust does compensate me for taking care of certain things, so I move that money into the trust. So I use mine just like you with the management trust. I guess you could actually say instead of being a motherlode trust, I'm using one of my trusts right now is a management trust. It pays everything, takes care of everything. I have great records. I don't have to worry about that. I have a little book in front of me. In fact, I'm using the same book right now, making notes for that trust because I just remember I had to buy something today. And I just make a list of everything I do. And what I do is a spreadsheet. The spreadsheet's on the website now. Got it all fixed and cleaned up. It works. I had a bad hyperlink. That's why it didn't work. But yeah, I just it's a business trust. Remember, this thing is designed for commerce. So I just use it that way. I mean, I don't have checks. That's archaic. But I do have a debit card and I have a savings account. So whenever there's any profit made or I get paid for doing some work on that end, then I put it into the savings account. I don't touch it. I could, but I don't.
You're saying that we could, if we have a management trust, that we can open up an account?
Sure. It's the best. That's why we built the management trust. It's going to manage everything. The management trust is going to have an EI number in a bank account. Your motherlode trust is going to have an EI number in a bank account. No other trust should ever have one if you use the management trust. The caveat, that statement's only true if you use the management trust. Okay, so I have multiple vehicles in multiple trusts, and they don't have an EI number, but yet I pay my insurance and everything through the trust. I pay my maintenance through the trust. I pay for my gas through the trust. So I have records of all that, And in my one of the minutes I put out there for me way back when, I don't even know where it's at, way back when, I just decided to itemize everything that the trust could do and then have the Board of Trustees agree to it. And then me, myself, and I, the 3 Board of Trustees, we signed it and dated it and put it in there, and I've used it ever since. So the management trust is probably the best thing we've ever come up with. I mean, besides being the trust itself, but the management trust is built on the same platform. It's essentially the same as your mother lode trust, but it has additional and different minutes in it and contracts.
Now, we don't call it the same name, do we, as the mother?
No, I just call it. No, I used that expression earlier. Probably shouldn't have done it. It's caused some confusion. I see now that was a wrong thing to do. I consider it to be my present mother lode trust. It's the trust that runs all of the rest of my trusts. You know, it is the one that gets the checks written to it. It is the one that brings in the cash for my trust business. That's where that money goes, into that one trust, that one bank account. And so it's kind of like I'm doing pre-RV when I'm going to be doing post-RV, but post-RV, I have another trust that's going to be the actual mother lode trust. Then I'll just, in my mind, change this to my business trust. To my management trust. So, you know, Harvey Dunn is going to be my, Harvey Dunn. That's my mother lode trust. Don't go stealing my name, folks. You can't get it. I already got it. So,
so that's your mother lode trust, but the business trust you're going to get, that's a different name, right?
Yeah, it's called the Good Shepherd Trust.
Good Shepherd.
And Shepherd is spelled with 2 P's because that's my family last name on my father's side.
Cool.
Probably TMI, you're too much information, but basically I don't really care anymore. You know, I'll tell you what you want to know. But yeah, I've got that trust, been running it for years and years and years.
Yeah.
So,
and, you know, likewise, our businesses, like Indicator Information Institute is a trust. I make payments to Jim, and I make the payments to Good Shepherd Trust. I make payments for myself to the Charterhouse Trust because I've used Charterhouse Trust for years. And over the years, both Jim and I have dabbled in multi-level or network marketing. I have a separate trust set up just for that. And I always use the same tax ID number, the same name. Whatever I sign up under, it's always under one of these trusts, that one in particular. So although, because, you know, folks, we've been doing trusts long before anybody ever heard about GCR or an RV. And we have used them to our best advantage for all those years. The whole idea, again, is privacy and protection of assets. And this use of multiple use trusts really layers your businesses in such a way that people really can't see who's getting what or where it's going.
Adding to that, real quick, when you said we did this well before the RV, Carol J. and I got together back in the mid-'90s. We've been working together off and on since the mid-'90s. We didn't hear about the RV until 2009. I found my original invoice the other day, so I know exactly when I got my first chunk of foreign currency. It was in October 2009. So for 14 or 15 years that Carol and Jay and I have been running around doing different things together, we've been doing these trusts. That's all we do. We use our trust constantly. Have had to have one corporation since then because I was going to take, this is pre-COVID-19, I have a little advertising company, and I wanted to franchise it out. I didn't want to franchise it through a trust, so I actually created a corporation for it. It was the biggest pain in the butt I ever had. The state was banging on me. The Fed was banging on me. Everybody's sending me letters. I got to fill this form. I got to do this. I got to give this. And I got to pay this money. And I got to sign this document. I got to have this registration. I have to have this guy receive. That's a bunch of BS. You know, I don't do any of that anymore. I don't deal with any of that because the trust is not necessarily considered to be an entity of the state. They try and claim it sometimes, but it isn't. So we've been doing this for years before the RV. And we've had these trusts, like Carol says, we've had these trusts that we use for commerce. See how I dabbled in some multi-level marketing and in some investing, and I was in the stock market for a while, losing money there, and you don't make money there, you just lose money there.
That's
and
true.
After I lost stuff, I says, okay, I'm not going to do that no more. But I still have the trust. The trust is still valid. I just, set it up for a different project.
So neither one of you, all these years, have no bad situations or ongoing situations with any of the trusts?
Not a one.
Well, the only one I ever has, I picked a bad co-trustee one time, but it didn't take much to get rid of that person. But still, that's the only issue I brought on myself. It was bad judge of character, but never had an issue with the government, state, federal, or otherwise. Now, folks, there's one more thing I need to add to this, and I'm going to be kind of leery about this, but I'll add it anyway. I operated out of a foreign country for many, many years also. Back in the 90s, I was very active in the Bahamas. I had an office down there, and we were doing international business companies, international trusts, and I did my domestic trusts. And we used to take there was a cruise ship that went back and forth to the Bahamas, 3-day cruise. We used to load that ship with about 50 people, and we get out there in international waters where it was legal, and we start talking about interesting things. And then we'd go to the set port in Nassau, then we'd all run to my office and do all of our stuff and get back on the boat and come home. And on the way back, we'd go through all the paperwork so everybody had it. We used to do that a lot back in the 90s. And then they quit doing business. But my point here is my business trust, the one I'm still using today, was the one I was using down there also. It's a common law country, folks. You can use it down there.
Wow.
And, I had business accounts, and you had Barclays. I can't remember the other one. They're not around anymore. Anyway, I had the Good Shepherd Trust. Well, the predecessor to the Good Shepherd Trust had an account there. So the Good Shepherd Trust kind of absorbed that trust. So we use these things all over the world too, folks, not just here in America. As long as it's common law country, it'll work. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. I have another question that I want to thank the both of you for that conference call with Brent Johnson. I mean, that was phenomenal. A lot of information there. And thanks for the recording that you kept so we could all re-listen to it again. And
all right.
And
just a second, hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on.
Okay.
Since you brought that up,
yeah.
In the website, on the main menu, the last thing on the menu at the top, it says Brent Johnson call. Folks, it's open to the public. Click on it. Click on that link. It'll take you when you see a beautiful sunset on the ocean, and some rocks and a building. It says right below there, click on the right triangle to listen here. You can listen to it right here. It's about an hour and a half long. Or right below it says click here to download this audio. You can download it and listen to it time and time and time again. It is a plethora of knowledge. I love that word. Plethora of knowledge that you can get from this man. And he's willing to work with you. He's willing to work with us. Folks, these guys came to us. We didn't go to them.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. I had no idea who the guy was. And it was set up by a mutual friend, Jimmy Martin. And we had a great time. I talked to him about 20 minutes before the call, before the call went public, and we had a great time. And, he's jazzed about what we do as much as we're jazzed about what he does. So there's a lot of synergy there.
Oh, that's great to hear. And so basically you and Carol are teaming up with him and his company.
Well, I wouldn't say that. We're going to use his services just like you'll use his services.
Okay.
When the time is right. We can't go and sell what he does. I mean, he's got his knowledge base. We've got our knowledge base. He does what he does. We do what we do. But he's the next level up. In other words, you get to our level. When you top out at our level, then you want to go international. We're pretty much a domestic company. Well, he's the contact, the conduit to all those people internationally that you want to deal with. So, there's a lot of synergism here, and that's what we're going to be working with here shortly, is getting that ready and set up. We haven't talked to him. I haven't talked to him at all since that call. I've just been slammed. But he knows. I told him I was in the process of moving and getting rid of stuff, and I'll talk about that at the end of the call. There's some hints there that will help you. And so, yeah, we're finding people like this to help you guys. This is all about somebody hearing about us, working with us, and knew him and says, God, you got to listen to these guys. And so he went and listened to a couple of our calls. I want to talk to him. Boom, there he was.
Wow.
So,
I'm just so grateful for you and Carol that you're not going to leave us in the dark after it argues. I mean.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, you never know. No, I'm just joking. No, we're going to be around. We're going to be around for a long, long time. We made that commitment last call.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you mentioned that, and it was just amazing. You know, so I'm just grateful that you're hanging in there with us, because this is something real big for all of us that is going to change our lives, and we know we got to figure out how we're going to operate for the rest of our lives and set up. And then, of course, this Brent fella, I assume that he has his own team that we contact, office or something, or he did mention that he's in the South. I don't know.
He's in Tonga. Tonga.
Oh, yeah.
He's in the South Pacific in a little island called Tonga.
That's what I was going to say, South Pacific. And yeah, is that right? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. See, I think he and I have met. He looked familiar to me, and he made a comment to me like, I think I know you. And then at the end of the call, he says, well, I'm going to be going to Klamath Falls, Oregon to do my exchange. I had a house in Klamath Falls. I worked in Klamath Falls in 93, 94, so 92, 93. And so he was there that time, too. So I'm sure that we met. I was doing these small seminars and working with small business people with my trust back then there. So I think he and I had met before. And we probably didn't do business, but we knew each other. So it's a small world.
Yeah, it's amazing. Does he have an office in Oregon, or is it just?
Yes.
Oh,
he does.
Okay, so he has people working for him.
I don't know the extent of what he does in Klamath. I know that that's where he's going to be going back to. He made that very clear on the call, and I just don't know what his plans are for Oregon. I just know that that's where he's going to.
Oh, okay.
And
so if one called them,
yes, he's about 250 miles from where I'm at right now.
Okay. If one calls him, who do we get? Do we get him, or we get somebody that's in his office? Or?
I don't have an answer for that question right now because we've not gotten back with him. We've been waiting. We've been busy on our stuff, trying to get everything cleaned up and ready to go. Carol's been going through the rehab from her surgery. I've been going through rehab, so to speak, from moving and trying to get rid of stuff. I mean, I got the pack rat gene, I have to admit. So I'm trying to wean myself and change that character flaw that I consider to be and try and get rid of all this stuff that I've got. And I mean, I got stuff. So
now,
it's tough to get rid of.
Jim, he mentioned that it is extremely important to get a CFO right away.
I agree with him.
Okay.
But guess what your CFO is going to be doing? He's going to be running your management trust for you. That's the whole idea. See, if you think it through, if you have to have a CFO, he's going to be wanting to direct you. Well, he's going to want access to certain files and certain things to make sure you're on the straight and narrow. I would imagine that once we lay all out how this is set up, you'll be very active in your management trust. It's up to you folks whether you want to have it in there, but you probably have to want to know everything you're doing with it so he can, make sure you don't make a mistake.
But
so,
did he say that we don't want that person to invest for us?
Yeah, exactly. That's your choice. You have to do that. He can guide you and bring you to us. It's kind of like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Cliche. He can bring you all of these different things and entice you. It's up to you to make the decision. It's up to you to implement those strategies. It's up to you to manage that part of your future. They'll guide you. That's their job. They're nothing but a guide. You have to make the ultimate decision.
Right, but usually, from what I thought I heard, that they work for a firm. So they would say, okay, invest in this because that's what their firm invests, rather than having some other type of financial guy, a wealth manager. And he said, don't get a wealth manager, don't even talk to a wealth manager until it RVs. They won't even talk to you. So
yeah, I agree.
So a wealth manager is different from the CFO, if I'm correct.
Yeah. The wealth managing team is going to help you manage your day-to-day stuff, little stuff, really, in my opinion. I've dealt with them before, and they're kind of like a concierge service. If you need something done, they get it done. If you need your house cleaned, they'll find somebody to clean your house. You need your yard to they'll take care of that. They'll also help you get your tickets. They'll also help you structure your business deals. They'll help you do a lot of things. Depends on how much information you give them is how much they're going to help you. The CFO is going to look at everything and say, okay, you've got this, 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 and this. We recommend this. Again, it's your decision. If you don't feel comfortable going that direction with what that CFO suggests, don't do it. That's not going to break your relationship with them. It's just going to let them know that, okay, that's one thing that I don't want to do.
So what I'm hearing from you, Jim, and Carol, is we don't have to be the Lone Ranger and figure everything out on our own.
No, you won't. You can't. You don't have the background. You don't have the contacts. You don't have the experience. Don't even try it.
No, I know.
I've got quite a bit of experience and stuff. I had international business companies and international offices and real estate, in different places. I don't even do that with myself. I always go out and get somebody, a professional, to review everything before I make any stupid decisions. And I made a few, trust me. But I'll say this, that the trust is the most resilient document you'll ever use. It can do just about anything you want to do without having the government jumping in your face. And I review everything through other people. I don't make any decisions. I call Carol quite often and ask her opinion from her experience.
And vice versa. Vice versa. It works both ways.
Yeah, we do. We talk a lot about different things and plans. We talk about the website. We talk about what things we want to put on the website. We talk, we're planning all the time. We're talking generally, except for this last 10 days, we were talking at least once or twice a day. This last 10 days, she's been busy, I've been busy, and I'm just trying to get wrapped up here. And I want to talk about that. I do want to talk about that at the end of the call.
Well, that's very comforting. So to know that you two have our backs. So thank you greatly.
Well, thank you, Rob. Right. We do have a few other people in line with questions here, so let's go to the next one.
Yes.
Raul, you've been patiently waiting. Thank you.
I hope I didn't forget what I was going to ask, but that was a good call, this last one. Thank you, Jim and Carol. Well, I'm here with, I already have a mother-in-law trust, and I did purchase a management trust with the agreement between the two. That will not change with all the new stuff that's being put in the website or the new adjustments that are being made. What I have is pretty much set. It's not going to be changing or anytime soon.
Well, I will say this. When we get it done, go look at the documentation that we present, or that we feel is the best that we can come up with, and then look at what you've got. Okay. You may want to add, subtract a couple things. There is a couple things that there's two different directions to go. You're going to see both directions when we get our final paperwork done, and it's just a series of contracts. It's a series of minutes. And maybe a resolution or two, maybe a small revision, nothing major. And what it's going to do is make it simple for you to manage all of your entities. That's what we're trying to do, is keep it simple.
Okay.
And to make it simple, we want to get the basis of all the contracts in there and in your system. And then it's going to be simple. We've got to make sure we get it right. And I'm going to encourage everybody that's got the management trust, once we get this done, we'll make a big announcement. We want you to look at this stuff. We want you to download it. At least have it in your computer. It'll be in a text format or Word format. And then look at them and see what phrase that we put in there that we didn't have before that you like. Just add it in there.
Okay. And I can ask you guys questions if I have a concern there, right, pretty much? Just make a call. Well, what do you think?
To a degree, right. Again, we're trying to keep the calls. I keep a list. I got 21 calls this week for people, simple questions. A simple question is 15 minutes. You know, I burned up a day and a half just answering people's phone calls. That's what we're trying to stop. So we're going to have more and more stuff on the website. What we'll probably do...
I'm sorry.
What we'll probably do is when we get this done, we will we'll have a call, probably on a Saturday, and we'll dedicate the whole call to linking your management trust to the rest of your trust. That's all we'll talk about. And all of the contracts will already be there, and we'll encourage people to download them. I'll send out the notice in advance, and in that email that you'll get will be a hyperlink to go download. It'll be a whole, probably 10 or 12 contracts and minutes. Get them in your computer, folks. Get them in your computer so you got them there. And then when we discuss them, we'll go down the list, and we'll compare the old to the new for all those people like you, and we'll talk about this, and it'll be a simple process. Trust me, it'll be simple.
That'd be great to do that. One last question here. Let's say the Eagle is landed. Do I walk in with my abstract of the Motherlode Trust and also the Management Trust together, or just the Management, or just the Motherlode Trust?
That's a good question. I would say just your Motherlode Trust, because they're not going to have time to open up anything else at that first meeting from what we hear. Again, it's not what our forte is, but Carol agrees. So I would just do the Motherlode Trust, and then on your second or third meeting with them, you'll have a lot of meetings with these people. Trust me on that one. You will open up your Motherlode Trust. Your Management Trust. Need more coffee. Motherlode Management Trust, and you will then structure it with all the rest of your trust, and then you just use that one debit card.
Sounds good.
We don't know.
Again.
Go ahead.
Yep. Go ahead. You don't know what we don't know.
Exactly. We don't know what they're going to ask. See, that's the other thing. When we get there, they're going to ask us questions. We don't know what they're going to ask, so we don't know what to tell you to answer. When you get there, it's not going to be a one-sided conversation. They're going to ask you a lot of questions. And I don't know what they're going to be, so I can't guide you. But I will say this. Be straight up with them. Don't try and make up a story. Just give them the facts. And if they ask a question you can't answer, well, I don't have an answer to that right now, but I will find out and get back with you.
Okay.
And, I get people call me all the time, well, what's the question? What's the answer to this? Well, I don't know. Let me do some research. And I usually get back with people. But right now, again, there's no way of knowing.
Well, Jim, one of the things that Brent said that they would be eager to help us go through this because they want to get this done. So I would imagine that the questions will not be prohibitive of us, compromising the process. But what do I know?
Actually, what they're going to ask you is things about your life. They're not going to ask you about your legal stuff. They're not going to ask you about the trust. They already know that's what you got. They're going to ask you about your life. What do you need done? What do you need?
Okay, I got you.
They want to know what next meeting they need to send you to. What's the next person you need to go talk to? What's the next form you got to fill out?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well,
they're there to help you, not mess with you.
Okay. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Jim. That was it.
Thank you, Raul. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Angelfish, you're up next. Thank you again for waiting.
Hi. Hello, I'm Carol. Hello, Jim. How are you doing?
We're well. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you. And thank you for coming on to this presentation once more. I really do appreciate it. I came in a little bit late, but I do have two questions. The first question is relating to my personal assets. Would you encourage us to put our personal assets that we have in now with the proceeds that we will get from exchanging the currency when that occurs? Should we put that in the same trust?
I would not. We do have a personal property trust that you can put all your assets into that you currently have. I know a lot of people have art collections or gun collections or baseball card collections or whatever. Those kinds of things should go into a personal property trust. Again, folks, you don't want to mix anything with your mother lode or with your even with your management trust. You want to keep it as clean as possible. Would you agree, Jim?
I agree. Yeah. I forgot how many. I think I have right now. I'm operating 9 trusts.
Yeah.
For me.
I know. I've got about 6. Yeah.
Yeah. So the trust. There's a trust for everything nowadays. We've looked at the future. We're trying to cover you for the future. I would move everything into a personal property trust that you own now after the RV. I wouldn't do it right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, you wouldn't do it now?
I haven't done it. I mean, I have a lot of trusts that I have all my stuff in, but I mean, there are a few things that they're not in trust yet that I really don't care about. If you want to get a trust and do that, yeah, you can do it now. But your trust life and your personal life, they're 2 different things. And so when you start moving things from your personal life to your trust life, then they got to go into a trust. Now, if you move things out of the trust in your personal life, well, that's another story. You got to be careful when you do that. But you can do that. Way to structure it.
Oh, okay.
But I wouldn't do too much until after the RV right now. I just wait and see how it unfolds.
Oh, okay. So are you saying that if I want to put my property like my house and stuff like that into a personal property trust, I should wait until after the RV? You think that's the best thing?
No, that's not. Okay, you misunderstood. The personal property trust is for your personal stuff. You put your house in a real estate trust. You put your cars in an equipment or automobile trust. I have a gentleman that just talked to me the other day that's going to become a client, I believe. He owns about a dozen semi-trucks, and he wants to put each truck in for a trust. I think it's a brilliant idea because it limits his liability. The issue we're researching right now is because he's a commercial enterprise and he has commercial truck licenses. How does that work with the trust? I don't know yet, but I know well. Just got to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
So I would, if it's just personal stuff, I would just keep it separate right now. If you do want to put your house in, it's never too late to put a house into a real estate trust. Never too late to put a car in a car trust because there's your 2 liabilities right there. I don't know. Most people don't know this. Just a little tidbit for everybody. If you're running a business out of your home, like a multi-level business or a little home operation of whatever it may be, you need to change your homeowner's insurance policy. Because if somebody comes to visit you, they fall on the steps coming into the house and get hurt, and they're there for business, your homeowner's insurance will probably not cover that. So you need to talk to your insurance agent because I'm finding that to be very prevalent right now where new home-based business since the COVID hit, you're not covered. You have people come into your house, you're not covered. So be careful.
Oh, okay. All right, okay. Yeah, so the personal property is different from my house. Let's say I have $20,000 in an account that I'm not really using, but I have it in a CD, and you think it's better to put those in a trust?
I would, but I don't know when I would do it.
That is investing. Yeah. So I'm just asking. Like I have that, and I'm just investing that. I'm not using it like for daily things right now. And I want to put my house, secure my house. I could put those in a trust right now.
Yes. So your house is probably the most important asset, and then secondly, if you got substantial automobile that's expensive, that's another thing you want to protect.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see. Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted.
I'm sorry, I have a 1979 Dodge D100 short box pickup. It's a little classic. It's in its own trust. I don't commingle with anything else. And I have another vehicle. It's a Ford four-wheel drive. It's in a separate trust. So I keep it. You want everything in a separate trust. One house to a trust, one car to a trust.
Oh, okay. And is it the same kind of trust as we would put our currency in, or is that a different type of trust?
No, it's a different type of trust. It's basically using the same vernacular, same wording on the beginning of the trust, but then the trust has resolutions that allow it to do certain things that the standard trust wouldn't be able to do or wouldn't want to do, just to harbor the house or just to harbor the automobile. So there is some difference, but the core of the trust is the same. The part of the trust that we feel that's the most important is always in all of the trusts, which is the one that protects us from the government.
So would we start the trust just like in the same way that we did the other trust? Would we?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes. So how do we create that trust? Do we get somebody to be a grantor, or we can grant into a trust like that ourselves?
Now, you're going to go to the 3iTrustApp.com, and that's where the applications are at. Then you apply for a trust. They're to ask you a series of questions. And you're looking for a creator, somebody just that's going to be the one that's going to help you get it started, and they're temporary. Once they're done, their job consists of just signing a couple documents. The last thing they sign is a document saying that they have no liability to the trust, nor do they have any interest in the trust. In fact, their job is over with. They've just been fired, And so you don't have to worry about that. The creator's got a temporary job. They can't come back for any reason. And they make the trustee, and now you're 100% control. So you can't contract to yourself. That's why you have to have a creator. There's got to be two parties to a contract.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's why
so I've never heard about the 3iTrust.com before. Is that something that you had set up, or is that another private?
No, 3iTrust is our application site. If you go, I'm on my website, so I'm going to go back to the main menu. I'm going to go to the home page. As you go down, if you go to the home page on Indicator, you go down, and where it has the pricing of all of our trusts, right below that says complete your application at 3iTrustApp.com. Huge letters.
Okay. All right.
So you click on that. You pick the right trust that you want to fill out, that you want to buy. You fill out the application. It's sent to us automatically. We get it within minutes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yes. I've not been going to the Indicator information site, and I should have. I think I mislaid my password, and I'm not using that app for the password. So
send me an email, and I'll get that fixed for you.
Okay. All right. Great. All right. So that's what I wanted to know. Just if I want to create another trust and I want to put my current assets into that trust, and how to do that. Yeah.
All right. We'll help you do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, Jim, at the top of the hour, we have 4 more people with their hands up. Are you willing to hang on for a while?
Sure. Let's do it.
Okay. Mr. Martin, thank you for waiting.
Hey, guys. Regarding Rob's question about getting in touch with Brent Johnson, if he dials the 800 number that he gives you in the end of that recording, you will reach Lee Parker, Lee Parker. She, if you will, is the gatekeeper. She will take the information that you wish to leave, and then Brent will contact you.
Perfect. So, by the way, Jim is Jimmy 1, and I'm Jimmy 2. We talk a lot together. So that's because Jimmy 1's older than Jimmy 2, but not by much.
There you go. I wondered about that.
Thanks, Jimmy 1.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Okay, let's see who we have next. Gary. Gary?
Yes. Hey, Carol and Jim. Jim, got a question for you. and it's a real simple question, but I don't know the answer to it. When you're on the website and you've got the menu, it says find what you need. You've got home, blog, trust, and the whole litany of things you can click on. Yep. If you want to exit the app, what is the best way to exit the app? Because every time I get on it, I hunt for 5-10 minutes trying to figure out how do I get out of this thing. And what I've been doing is hitting the home button, then going down and clicking to log in again, which seems like crazy, but by doing that, I get a thing that comes up that says click to log out. Is there an easy way of logging out that I'm missing, or could there be something at the bottom of that menu to say log out to log out?
No, just go to your name at the top of the right-hand side. You'll see your name.
Okay, I'm on the site right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't see my name on here, though.
At the very top right-hand side, you should have your name. Because if you're logged in, it will say, for me, it says, howdy, Jim. And then I can go there and I can change my edit. I can change my profile, rather. I can edit my profile, or I can log out. You should have a little icon at the very top right-hand side. One will be like a looking glass, or...
I don't have that. Am I supposed to be on a certain site to see it?
Well, if you're logged in to indicator information, you would see that. Are you logged in?
I'm logged in, and it says welcome back member. You're logged in as Gary Craik, and then it says click to log out. But to get to that site, I had to click on something else to get there because I don't see any place to log out.
Okay, just a second. I'm going to log out. I'm as administrator.
Yeah, I see the same thing. Howdy, Carol, and the magnifying glass or looking glass.
Okay, so now I'm going to log in as a member, just like you guys. So I have another email address I use for that. I see the same thing. I still see it at the right. Now, what browser are you using, Gary?
I'm using my smartphone.
Well, that explains it. It's an app that's not going to give you that. So on smartphones and iPads, I have no solutions. I don't use any of that stuff. It's something that I probably need to bring on somebody that can answer those questions. But on an iPhone or a phone, I don't even use my phone. I hardly ever use my cell phone. But I don't have an iPad. I have a laptop. So I'm always on my computer. I have two 32-inch screens in front of me, and soon to be 3. And so I don't see those things. I think what it is your app is just hiding a lot of the stuff that you won't see on the website. It is optimized for iPads and phones, but that's relative. Every couple of months it gives me a update, and I update it every time to be able to use those things. And I can view what it looks like. And what you usually see is you see 3 bars someplace. And when you see those 3 bars, that's telling you there's a menu available. And in that menu, you can go around wherever you want to go to. I've used my cell phone one time when I was out in the field to try and get on the website, and it was just impossible. I just didn't, I don't do it. Sorry, I just don't have an answer for your question because I don't use those programs.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you. Okay, Yvonne, you're next. Area code 928.
Did you say Yvonne?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay, real quick. Carol, you helped me before. I told you that I got an EIN number on my vehicle trust, and you told me not to worry about it, and I wasn't. But I do have a question. If I sell that vehicle after the RV this week, what do I have to do with the EIN number? Do I have to report to anybody that I sold it, or?
No. Okay.
No,
you're going to repurpose the trust. When you sell the car, you're going to sell it out of the trust. Then you're going to go buy a new car, and you're going to use the same trust. You don't have to keep buying trust. You repurpose the same trust. You just get another car for it.
And then I just do a minute to say it's a new vehicle.
Exactly. Say that the Board of Trustees met and decided our junker was junk, and we decided to get rid of it, and we did, and then we went out and bought 2021 $1.5 million Lamborghini. I don't know what you're going to buy, but just.
Okay, so I never really have to worry about the EIN number then.
No, you don't even have to use the EIN number. If you get a management trust, just ignore the EIN number. They're good forever. Just get the management trust. If you use the management trust, use that for your banking. Until then, you can use this. You have an EIN number. You can actually create an account at the bank just for that trust and put some money into that trust to pay for your insurance, pay for your fuel, pay for your maintenance, pay for this, pay for that. It's the same thing. We just didn't want you to have an EIN number for everything. It's just too confusing.
Well, right. It just came with one, so that was my only concern. I didn't want to have to worry about it for anything else. But you answered my question. I got it. I'm just using my management trust for everything, so that's that. I appreciate your help. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day. Thanks.
You too.
Bye-bye. Una, you're up next.
Yes. Hi. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are.
Okay. I have a trust I'm going to use for my mother load. And then the second one, can I change that to a management trust?
You could. Would have quite a bit of work to make it work, but it's doable. They're all basically the same trust. We just need to write the contracts to change things out.
Okay, so what do I do?
Do a change order on 3i Trust app. Now, this is one thing I'm glad you brought this up because, folks, please don't call me and expect me to take little notes on my stickies around here and be able to do a good job. That doesn't work for me. I have too much going on. I want to see all the changes that you want done on a change order. It's a 3i Trust app. It says change order. Just fill it in, send it, and then just hit send. We'll get it, and when we get it, we'll call you, and we'll fix things. So all you need to do is go to 3i Trust app, the change order, write a little skit, got this, and I want to do this, and how do I do this, and then hit the send button, and we'll get it done.
Okay.
If you get us a change order, we generally can get things done fairly quickly. But if we take phone calls, we don't have any paperwork, and I refuse to do that anymore. I had somebody wanted, just take my app over the phone. Well, they didn't spell things right, and it was just a disaster, and I'm never going to do that again. So just do the change order. That way we can get right on top of it. And either Carol or I will they come to both of us, and we talk. And say, I'm going to take care of this, and you take care of that one. And then we get back with you folks right away.
Okay. All right, then. Good. Thanks.
Okay. Well, I help you.
Thank you. Okay, though. Bye-bye.
We have two more, and after these, I think we'll call it a day. Okay, Jim?
Sure.
Okay. So, Blair, you are next.
Hey, Jim. Hey, Carol. So grateful for the call. Hey, I've heard when we have to take our entire trust into a trust department when we go to get a wealth manager or to set up our banking system, I've heard some people say that they're going to review your trust.
No.
I've not heard that.
I'm going to tell them no. It's a private document. I have an EI number. The government approved it already.
Okay. All we need is the abstract and the EIN.
Yeah.
Well, I would take it just in case. I mean, if it's going to be between they looking at it and you getting your money, well, let them look at it. But if they argue with you, I don't know what to tell you. But I'll have mine with me, only one of my trusts, the mother load. And if I have grief with them, well, then we'll start the battle. I don't think we'll have any issues whatsoever because, for one thing, unless they're an attorney or the court, they have no jurisdiction.
Okay. And that's kind of my question. Is that
Larry, here's the deal. If it comes down to them getting your money, your currency, and the trust, they're going to get your currency. If it gets right down to it, they'll worry about that later. They just want to get that currency out of your hands and into theirs.
Yeah, I was really thinking about later when we have a wealth manager, is he going to want to know the trust to know exactly, or a CFO, exactly how he operates in order to stay within the constraints of the trust?
Oh, I'm sure he will, and I would have no problem whatsoever given it to them to look at, but I'm also going to have them sign a contract, non-disclosure. Those are on the website.
Okay.
So,
and part of the reason I had a question about the actual trust itself on page 8 under section 12, where it talks about paragraph A, it says the contract declaration of trust creates a non-grantor irrevocable common law trust organization and shall continue blah, blah, blah. And then it says the trustees may, in their unanimous decision, because of the threatened depreciation in values or any other reason, deem good and sufficient, liquidate and or distribute the remaining assets as provided below and close the trust organization at any earlier date determined by them. And then in paragraph B, it goes on again to describe that they can terminate the trust and distribute the assets after paying all the bills and the taxes. How is it irrevocable if they can revoke it so quickly or so easily?
No, it's irrevocable by the government. In other words, nobody can force you to do it. You can do it voluntarily, but nobody can
terminate it. You can terminate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
a
is
good
great.
word. Yeah. You can be the Terminator. You do Arnold Schwarzenegger on it. Yeah, you can terminate it, but they can't force you to pull the asset out and give it to somebody else. That's why it's irrevocable, or as my highfalutin attorney calls it, irrevocable. Yeah, potato.
Guys, they should teach this in high school. I've lived 65 years in all kinds of financial stuff and never knew that I could have an instrument like this that would have done so much for my my whole situation. Anyway, on the trust, if we want to state clearly the purpose of the trust, now it's kind of vague in the trust document. To me, it might not be in legal terms, but whether or not, is this for a fiduciary purpose, or is it just simply for the benefit of the certificate holders, or is it benefit for just the trust assets standalone on their own? In other words, what activities can I not do? Because there should be some guiding purpose that says you can't do that because there's no way you can possibly justify that as being fiduciarily beneficial. On the other hand, it may be beneficial to the lives of the certificate owners to take a 2-week vacation to Europe without doing any business, without any other reason, just saying we're just going to go to Europe and spend money.
Do you remember what I said earlier in the call? The trustee, the trust can buy houses for the trustees, buy them new cars, buy them retirement plans. I don't think it said anything specific about vacations, but it could do just about anything. And you, as a trustee, can do anything a normal adult human person can do, as long as it's legal.
So you could, within the trust, you could buy their clothing, you could pay their doctor's bills, you could, buy their food, their daily food, not business dinners, just day-to-day groceries. Everything is allowed, or is there some way that you discriminate between one thing or another? Or, like I said, I was thinking about putting in a minute to spell out the purpose of the trust as just for the benefit and not just quantitatively, but qualitatively of improving the quality of life of the certificate holders.
It pretty much does exactly what you just said. I mean, all of the above. It's designed for that. Let's back up 2 steps, and just take a minute. You'll love this. The story of trusts. Where did they come from? They've been around since the 13 and 1400s. Well, the king, the kings like to go to war. You get one king against another king, they want to go to war. Well, who do they send? Well, they send out the noblemen to manage all of the troops. Well, the noblemen would die, get killed, and the king would take all their assets. Well, that didn't work out for the family. So the noblemen got smart, and they started creating trusts. So when they went to war, they put everything in a trust and give it to a third party. It says, here, you manage this for my family, so the king can't get it should something happen to me. That's the history of trust, folks. That's simple. Somebody decided to put all their assets into a legal document with wide borders, a lot of things you can do, to protect their family assets from a king that was going to send the nobleman out to perish to be able to steal their assets. Okay, change king to government. All right? Anything that you can conceive and believe to be true, you can probably do in a trust. You have to maybe word it differently, and you may have to have some additional minutes, but that's the basis of the trust, is to protect your assets from the king, in this case, the American government. That help?
That does. And then the next question hopefully will be moot soon, but it still isn't yet, is that then there's a little bit of a difference between what is allowable by the trust and then what is deductible under the IRS code for the trust. Is that correct? I might be able to pay for clothing out of the trust assets, but I might not be able to deduct that cost when I determine the trust.
Yeah, but that's, like you said, it's becoming a moot point here very, very shortly.
I can't wait.
Yeah, you and a bunch of others.
And one last question on the in the trust document. If there's something that we want to change, we can either add a minute that changes some of the foundational concepts in the trust document, or do we risk messing it up? Or if we have I've taken your stuff and formatted it, like you said, with the paper and all of that. Could I rewrite an entire page and just change words? Like, say, if I don't want to have 2/3 of the trustees have to make the vote, I want to make it 3/4 or unanimous or something like that. Can I alter the trust document, or do I add a minute, or do I come to you and have you change something? What's the best way?
No, you just add a minute. Remember, This is a private document. I'm glad you brought this up. This is a private document. You can do anything you want within common law. Remember, common law is a lot different than what we're being subjected to right now. What we're being subjected to right now is basically socialism. And so, but common law allows you to do anything you want to do as long as you don't damage yourself or your fellow human being. As long as you don't try to use the document to do nefarious activities and justify them after the fact. That doesn't work. So the common law trust is that. It's what's within the common realm of humanity is what we can do. Don't damage your neighbor. Don't cause a war. Don't try and use the document for nefarious activities, because you'll be held accountable. You can change it like the 3/4 from 2/3 to 3/4. Write a minute. Just write a minute.
Sounds good. I've been reading about the common law. It actually goes back to the 10 Commandments. It's one of the foundations.
Yep. It does. Thanks, Blair. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Guys, appreciate your service. What a value. We really appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Okay. Rob, one last question? Rob?
Yeah, Jim. Hey, Jim and Carol. What a huge learning curve we all have. But I guess we need to stay confident that we can handle this. So, and I want to shout out to the other Jim for answering that question with Brent Johnson. So, now my question here is, I'm not real educated, hardly at all. I don't know very much information about this crypto, blockchain, and all that. However, can we put that in our trust and buy crypto if we so choose to?
Sure.
Yeah.
Anything you want to do with the trust. The issue on that is what trust do you put it in. The answer to that is that's up to you. You can create a trust just for that. And that's what I did. And I got involved in a little bit of crypto, and I also bailed out of it recently and thought, I'll sit back and wait because I don't know what this government's getting ready to do. So I pulled my money back into a cash position. But, yes, I have a trust that I do some crypto with, and I've also done some stock options in the past. I don't do those anymore. But I have one.
Oh, okay. So you could just create a trust just specifically for that.
Well, I did, yeah. And it's an investment vehicle, right? And so there's a business trust, and in this case, I made it an investment trust. It says business trust, but I just simply put in there that this trust is designed to be an investment trust and to invest in cryptocurrencies or other types of whatever I remember now. It's just a paragraph in a minute. So I redesignated the trust from a different application that I was using it for into that, and I changed it by simply using a minute. You can use these trusts over and over and over and over again if you do it right. And it was an older trust, and it happened to have an EI number, so it made it simple for me to go ahead and use it. So I never throw a trust away. I just repurpose them.
I mean, you hear about this crypto, and it's just like, wow, is it really? It sounds like it's the thing to own or investing in for the future, because the banking system is all completely going to change, correct?
Right, but we don't know what it's changing into. I jumped into crypto. I made about $500 in about a week, and then I lost almost $600 3 weeks later. So I said, I'm going back to a cash position because it's too volatile right now. I don't feel comfortable making and losing money that fast. I can't control it. So I just jumped out. But we don't know exactly what the banking system will look like in the near future. There was some rumors that I read yesterday that Wells Fargo is going to be turned into a wealth managing entity instead of a bank because they don't have the rights to do what they've been doing. I don't know what that means. We don't know. It's the interesting part about this, like I've said many times, is we've never even got any documentation whatsoever from any government agency that this is even real. Now, I feel it is, but then again, I've never seen anything. So I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying nobody's ever mentioned it. We hear things from these specific people that we won't mention, and it seems like there's a new group every year or two shows up, and they just regurgitate this stuff. I've said many times, just come up with 100 excuses why it didn't happen. Send out an email. Well, this week is number 86, 14, and 2.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Right.
Now I understand it. Just give me the excuse du jour instead of all this hype and all this. Well, they've told us now 4 times in 2021 the value day. The value day was set 2 weeks later. Well, the value day is set now. Well, then a month later. Well, now the value day is here. Come on, folks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Make up your mind.
Exactly.
Yeah, really.
Exactly. Now, I also hear, too, that we shouldn't have any cash in the banks. Now.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this. I pulled out $2,000 yesterday out of the bank. I'm going to go pull out another $2,000 today. That answer your question?
Okay. All right. Because I just hear that the fiat money is not going to be worth anything. And it's like, well, okay, so if you pull it out, you have it at home. Is it worth anything, or do you invest in some assets or something? Not that I'm saying I got all this money, sitting here just, wondering what to do with it, but.
Well, I'm pulling the cash out because they're going to have to give you a certain amount of time to exchange your cash for the new currency. It's like they do with the war. They have blue script part of the month. They have red script the other part of the month. The blue script becomes invalid when the red script is put out there. The Federal Reserve notes will become invalid when the new currency is there. But there was a time when you could exchange the blue script for the red script with the treasurer, or they didn't call him that, but there was a word for him that they used during the war. And it's going to be the same thing. Every currency on the planet will have to give you a certain amount of days to exchange, or your old notes, your blue script, for the red script. You will get the opportunity. I just don't trust the banks right now, and I'm going to go to a bit of a cash position, especially since I pulled all my stuff out of my Bitcoin account. I'm just going to a cash position for a little while. Mm-hmm. I feel very comfortable with that.
Yeah. Probably.
Okay,
wise.
Is that it?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Tremendous amount of thanks to both of you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. And thank you all for joining us today. Jim, would you like to give us all your contact information?
Sure. Let me pull it up because I can never remember all these 800 numbers I've got. Okay, I'm on the West Coast, unfortunately. I'm still in Oregon. Don't hold it against me. I'm trying to get out of here, trying to get to a red state. All right, so my 341-6907 is my 800 number, or 503-583-6791. I work from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. I don't like working weekends. And you can get hold of me through security@indicatorinformation.com. security-indicatorinformation.com. And our website is indicatorinformation.com. Carol?
There you go. Well, again, thanks to all of you for your time and attention today. We had some really good questions, and hardly anybody dropped off the call until the very end. My name is Carol Werelius. My number, and we'll just go with the 800 number, it's 877-333-5018. I am available between 10 and 6 Eastern Time. I don't like to work evenings or weekends, so please don't call me then. I mean, I got a call the other day at 11 p.m., so didn't answer it, obviously. But the best way to reach me is also by email, info@indicatorinformation.com. So have a happy and safe weekend, everybody. Go RV, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks. Bye-bye.
Bye.